Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So again, we're here with Randy Rossler from Podiatry Content Connection. He's one of our sponsors and has been for several years. They are pretty much the only podiatry specific marketing company in town, certainly the only one that we recommend and that we trust to help serve our audience. So tonight we hope to learn something. I always learn something new from you guys. So with that, Randy, are you ready to kick it off?
I'm ready to kick it off. So
all right.
Thank you, Anne, and thanks for joining us this evening, you all. We're all busy during the day, so appreciate you joining us in the evening after hours. So we're going to talk about how to dominate your area, earn more money, and join what I call the top 1% club. So that's where everybody would like to be. So that's what we're chatting about. And I pose a question like, who deserves to be part of this 1% club? Is it really the most experienced podiatrist? Or is it the podiatrist who actually markets his practice effectively? Like, who wins? And the bottom line is that it's not so fair. It's not always that fair, because the answer is it could be a very less qualified podiatrist. It could be a new, maybe with less experience, but they know how to market and they will leapfrog over others that, they don't want to be a best kept secret, but if they don't market themselves properly, they might. So again, my name is Randy Rossler. I'm the National Director of Podiatry Content Connection. For those that don't know us, we're been doing this for 10 years. We've grown to become, we weren't always, but the #1 comprehensive digital agency for podiatrists only. So podiatrists are specialists, and so are we. We only work with podiatrists. I do. I get calls from chiropractors and dentists and other doctors that are married to podiatrists, and they heard about our service and what we do and how we help podiatrists, and they like part of that, but we don't serve anybody but podiatrists. Something I mentioned to Anne before, something unique that we do is that we are selective as to who we take on as a customer. We want to respect our customers and protect them. So we don't give an exclusive by the state, but it happened as recently as this morning where I had a great meeting with a podiatrist yesterday who really needs and wants our service. Unfortunately, we learned after the fact that one of our existing customers is down the block from him. And so that's too close for comfort for our customer and for us. And so unfortunately, I had to pass up on this customer. It's happened a number of times last year in 2022, happened again today. So I don't enjoy that, but it just speaks to the kind of what I call the integrity of our company, that we won't just take on anyone. So, we're big on helping private practices attract more new patients on the web. And besides integrity, we got a little bit of a heart going on. We give back to the podiatry colleges every month. And there's two things that podiatrists really like about us: the fact that we're podiatry only and the fact that we give back to colleges. I always say that we're not BACO, we're not PICA, so we can't write a check for $250,000, but we've given $250,000 back to podiatry. Every single month we contribute to the colleges, and not all of them, but to a number of them. So, and we also handle the online marketing for two of the colleges that we work with: Barry University in Miami and Kent State University in Cleveland. So, and if you've seen any of our ads, because we're doing a lot of advertising lately, but we're boasting this, like, this is a bold statement, like that our clients actually earn more money than podiatrists working with other marketing firms. Kind of a bold statement, but it's really coming from Chase Bank. And their insights show that podiatrists who work with us are earning more substantially than other podiatrists who work with other marketing companies that do similar things to what we do. It's actually kind of a simple formula, is that better marketing, whether you're a podiatrist or a carpenter or an accountant or a lawyer, but better marketing attracts new customers, patients, whatever you want to call them. In the podiatry world, a lot of podiatrists like a certain type of patient. We call them ideal patients. So, so if we do more of that, more patients equal more money equals better cash flow. That's a good thing. So what is Randy doing with this silly slide here? Come on, get with the program, Randy, because we're almost in June. Yeah. So I'm saying Happy New Year. I'm a party animal. I'm celebrating the new year. And the reason is, my point is that when the new year comes along, most of us, or a lot of people, have New Year's goals and resolutions. And businesses and private practices also have goals, like maybe somehow, some way, we're going to attract more new patients this year, or attract a certain type of patient, or enhance our reputation, or be much more visible on Google, or make it easier for patients and staff to do business with the practice. And maybe grow and expand, bring on another podiatrist, take on another office, maybe finally get around to monetizing that Swift device, or that Zimmer shockwave, or that Remy laser that you got, that you invested dollars in, that may be collecting dust in the back room and not paying for itself, and just make more money. So these are all worthy goals, right? But meanwhile, like I said, we're almost, we're heading towards June. We're right a week away from Memorial Day weekend. So how's it going? I mean, this is a silly thing, but like, you can't hope new patients in the door. You got to bring Clint Eastwood and says, you got to ask yourself, do you feel lucky? Well, do you? And the point is that, do you think that luck, you can't hope new patients in the door. You can't get lucky. You can, what I call, create your own luck. And again, little cliches here, but I think they're great because they're true. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I hate to say it, but podiatrists are really guilty of this, that so many podiatrists I've worked with, until they gathered up the strength and the courage to do something different and to adapt and pivot and actually invest money into their practice, they just saw the same things, just different year. And it's terrible. So it really doesn't matter whether you're a plumber or a podiatrist, but marketing is the lifeblood of any business. And this is something cool that I always like to share, that, like the green part here, the things that we know, like you know that you know how to speak English, and maybe that you don't know how to speak fluent Chinese, because I know that I don't. So there's things that and there's things that that you don't know. But there's a bunch of things that you don't know that you don't know. And so you think about that for a minute. Now, for me, by the way, there's a bunch of things about foot and ankle conditions that I don't even know that I don't know. I know some of the basics by speaking and attending the conferences, but there's a lot that I don't know. So they said that, the body of all possible knowledge. So, you can't know what you don't know. So this is like an important area, and kind of the sandbox that I play in when I'm with podiatrists. I'm sharing them with things that can have an impact on their practice that they never gave some thought to. And the hardest part of what I do, by the way, is just getting the attention of a podiatrist. It's far and away the most difficult part. And once we do engage them in a conversation, they're like, wow, I never really thought about that. I never knew that was possible. And it's amazing what can happen when you view what I call a view of possibilities. So with regards to online marketing, some that know and benefit from the web might prefer that you maybe not know, kind of keep it their own little secret. So I'm to share with you some of these things and open your mind to what is possible. A lot of podiatrists are I'm really not digging that word, busy, like busy. They're not productive. They're not effective. They're not making a lot of money, but they're really busy, and they're so busy that they don't even realize that what I call the house is on fire, meaning that, they've got really bad visibility or no visibility when it goes to heel pain treatment in their city or town, or they've got decent visibility, but also bad reviews are SEO friendly. So they don't realize that they've got a bunch of really bad or negative reviews, and that's having a direct impact on their whole practice. Or, their daughter, built a website for them when she was in high school, and it looked pretty good at that point, but now it's 14 years later, and it looks pretty darn old. Or just outdated content. I mean, thanks to companies like Amazon and others out there, we're just spoiled when it comes to the web, and we want to see things that are actually up to date, and we want accurate information. And any of these things are off, people, unless you're the only podiatrist in town, the click of a mouse, they're kind of gone. So you need a plan. You should have a strategic market plan. A plumber has a plan. A podiatrist should have a plan. And I mentioned before, a view of possibilities, like what's really possible for you and your practice beyond where you and your practice are right now. And this is the magic question I ask podiatrists, and whoever's on here tonight should ask this question yourself is, like, do you have the desire and the capacity for more new patients? And by the way, there is no right or wrong for this answer, because if you've had a great 30-year run and you are winding down and you got another, 6 or 12 months left in you, then you're done, then no, you probably do not, But if you've got another 5 or 10 years in you and you want to finish strong, or maybe be in a position to sell the practice, or attract a certain type of patient, then hopefully you do have the desire and the capacity for more new patients. So if so, you need to be proactive. Like just having a website is not what I consider to be proactive, and again, so if you got a website, it's like, okay, well, I guess it's better than not. But just because you have a website really doesn't mean that you're marketing your practice. And again, a lot of podiatrists are into they think that they are, but they're not. So if you're you got a website and you're just having it hosted by a company, then you have a hosted website. You don't have a web presence. And a web presence is kind of all the things, the website's in yellow and everything around it, whether it's content, updated directories, social networks, advertising, etc. That's a web presence. Easier said than done. But just a website by itself is just kind of like this guy on the side here, just waiting because not a whole lot's happening. So this is my corny analogy, but it's kind of like a guy or somebody that says, I'm going fishing and I want to catch fish, but I got no bait, I got no net, maybe I got no pole. Guess what? You're not catching any fish. So, if you got the desire and the capacity for more new patients or a certain type of patient, but you don't have what I call an effective web presence, it's kind of like the same thing. You're leaving money on the table, basically. So the point I'm making here is that there's a really big difference between a website and a web presence. Totally different. And so, in order to convert a searcher to a new patient, you need to really build your practice's visibility and relevance at each point on here. And they come from different places. It could come from Google or a website or a blog or social media. You don't know where they come from. So, but they're all important, and you want to do the best you can to optimize it. So however they access you, you can draw them in. And I would assume most of you know this, but it's important to recognize that nowadays patients see you before you see them. If they're a new prospective patient or they're referred to you by another doctor or another patient, they're going to check you out on Google. So, you want to great visibility and great reviews. If you've got great visibility and bad reviews, it's simply not good enough, And then again, this is a biggie that I was speaking with podiatrists. And again, there's no right or wrong here in that, regardless of which podiatry school you went to, they really didn't talk much at all about practice management and marketing your practice like the way that they did in dental school. So a lot of podiatrists, so how do you see this? Is this an expense or is this an investment? So I've been doing this for 10 years. I could tell you that this is an investment in your practice that changes the game. It's a comprehensive website, not just a web, not a website, but a web presence, that's got blogs and articles and all these different things. Really is, when it's done properly, is a big time investment in your practice. So, then, again, some podiatrists say, what, I don't even know if I got another 5 years left of me. Is it really worth it? I've been practicing for 28 years. I got maybe 3 or 4 years left of me. Why is it worth building? So the question is, what's the value of a new patient? And by the way, this is different for every practice. So some might be a small solo practice, although they can be very profitable. Depends on the type of practice you have. But as far as, what is one new patient to your practice worth over the first 12 months? If anybody wants to jump in, I'd love to hear what you think between the initial visit, follow-up visits, procedures, maybe orthotics. Any ideas? Because I'm being like a lawyer because I'm asking a loaded question. In my 10 years of podiatry, I've been doing this. I've been to hundreds of conferences, and I've asked the same question every time. And basically, the answer we've gotten is about $1,000 average. Some say about $600. Some say about 1,500, 2,000. But the average been about 1,000. So if this visual is about how to attract $1 million of new revenue into a practice, say even a solo practice, in 1 year. And the way is that, so if one patient on average equals $1,000, well, 1 million divided by 1,000 is 1,000. So 1,000 patients per year breaks down to about 83 per month, which it goes down to about 20 per week. And then about 4 new patients a day based on a 5-day work week, which actually doesn't sound like that much. So, but the thing is, it's not just magic. You can't, like I said, hope new patients in the door. You actually have to have a marketing system that can consistently attract 4 new patients per day that may equal an additional $1 million in annual revenue to your practice. Now, some podiatrists can't even conceive of that, which is terrible, by the way. But if you have a marketing mindset, this is not rocket science, and this is done all the time. So, and of course, the lifetime value of one new patient is worth a whole lot more than $1,000. If they're with you for 10, 15, 20 years, and do the math, the numbers are much bigger. So online marketing really is a powerful tool for attracting patients. And we're all searching. We all have our smartphone next to us. When people refer to you, they're going to check you out online anyway. And Dumb and Dumber, but my point is that website visitors are no dummies. They're expecting to see certain things, and everybody and their mother is using Google. So your website can become a tool if it's built, like kind of a hub of a web presence. And again, patients see you before you see them. So the website should be, mobile friendly. It should be fast. I mean, how many of you ever go to a really slow website and it's loading and loading and loading? After a while, you know what? I'm out of here. Go to another, doctor. If the website says that this website is not secure or might be stealing your information, people are gone. So it should be secure, should be, suitable for handicapped people. It should be responsive, so it works on any type of network, whether it's cell phone or iPad or whatever. And, keep in mind, and this is important, especially after COVID and everything, but first impressions aren't made at the front desk anymore. They used to be. Right now, first impressions are really made online. And so you want to make a really good first impression. What they say, you only have one chance to make a good first impression. So I always love showing this with Tom Cruise in that movie, Jerry Maguire, you had me at hello. And, looks count and first impressions count, not just in person, but also online. You want to look good. And if you've been a podiatrist for 28 years or 30 years, somehow, some way, you actually might have decent visibility on Google, which is interesting. But if they click on a link and it goes to an old, outdated website with negative reviews, they're not calling your office anyway. So, and then, patients have the attention span of a fly. So you got to, show them things quickly. You got 2 to 10 seconds to draw them into your website, show them what they're looking for. So, if it's heel pain or foot and ankle pain, it should be front and center. They should not have to flip through pages on your website. It should be friendly and very easy to navigate whatever they're looking for. So it's not a chore. And then blogs. Again, our company name is Podiatry Content Connection. So we're very big on blogs and articles and stuff like that. But it's a game changer, and it's a big deal, but it's not easy. So, having consistent content is a big deal. So how does this attract new patients? That there's different things where, Google factors in these things into their optimizations and their algorithm when they decide who gets teed up on page 1. So fresh content is big, frequent updates, content with keywords or key phrases in them is a big deal. Fresh content, So keep your audience informed and updated. So this is important stuff. So, you can leverage the power of blogs and content marketing through your website, Google, Twitter, social networks, etc. So it's powerful. But, this is, it's got to be good, consistent content, and consistent is easier said than done. So I often wonder, why many podiatry practices don't have blogs, because many of them, if not the majority of them, don't, and why? So it's basically, podiatrists lack time because they got the knowledge to write blogs, or they just don't understand how this stuff works, and they shouldn't, because that's not what they trained to do. They're trained to treat patients, but it does take time, and it does work, and it does benefit the practice. So Bill Gates used to say, "Content is king." Very much so on the web. Again, in our world, content is what we call the secret sauce that keeps our customers, talk about dominating online. This is how you dominate online, when you have a machine or a team that can consistently put out content embedded with Google, keywords and key phrases embedded into your blogs and articles and other things that we do, that makes our customers show up not once on Google, not twice, not 3 times, but multiple times on the front top fold of Google. And that's excluding Google Ads, which is like the turbocharger. So pretty bold statement, but that's our secret sauce. And we've been doing that for 10 years, and our customers are benefiting big time from that. So, but the website, the content's got to be useful, fresh, engaging, educational, all that stuff. So examples of blogs that lead to articles that are linked together. We do something called spot campaigns that complements this stuff. Really just allow social media followers to see, like, what we call photo posts on your timeline that target specific issues, and have a direct link back to your website. So they're mixed in with the blogs and the articles. So it's just a visual with a call to action. So I think most people know Jeffrey Learman, and he let me borrow a couple of his slides. And I like this one because it says that 85% of people make judgments based on what they read and see online, meaning your website, reviews, content, that type of thing. And so, you might have a minute or two for people to form an opinion, and either it's yay or nay, either your phone rings or doesn't. So it's kind of like the moment of truth. So what do people think about you? Excuse me. A little congested. Apologize. Anyway, another sip. My dog. So you really need a strategic plan for all these types of things: reputation management, to be proactive online. It's really important. And this is a true statement that, that basically, Abby, that 94% of patients will avoid podiatry practices with negative reviews. And so, if you got 3 stars, it's just simply not good enough. Like 5 stars is great, 4 stars is really good, 3 stars is not good, and it can have a damper on your whole practice. So negative reviews can have a serious impact on your practice. So this saying that 86% of customers hesitate to purchase from companies with negative reviews, so cost you web traffic and revenue. If you want positive reviews, 4+ stars. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, there seems to be a hot spot with podiatrists where they want to make sure that, they have a system for more positive reviews. Check out this website, betterpodiatryreviews.com. And then I mentioned earlier that, folks that, podiatrists that dominate in their area and make more money, how are they doing that? Well, many of them are doing it by targeting a specific type of patient online and drawing them into their office. So, in the old days of yellow pages and billboard ads and that thing, it was one thing. But nowadays, the web is really an advertiser's dream, because you can really laser target, pardon the pun, to attract your ideal patient. So it's a big deal. And there's, just simply put, there's nothing like Google Ads. And if you're on this webinar saying, you know what, I tried Google Ads once and really didn't work, then I'm betting that you tried it yourself or you work with a company that just didn't know what they were doing, because there's nothing like Google Ads. And our customers that are seeing 8 times return on investment or 10 times return on investment are doing Google ad campaigns with us. And their budget doesn't stay the same. It goes in one direction, up, because it's almost like, we're just at Region 3 in Atlantic City. If you can go to a slot machine, put in $1, it spits out $2, you're going to probably put in more money every time. So our customers do that with Google Ads. The budgets go up because the return on investment is substantial. So, if you're not familiar with Google Ads, and I'm not suggesting it, it's not necessarily for every podiatrist, because it's what I call the deeper end of the pool. Some podiatrists are not used to spending even a couple $100s a month on their practice, which is a shame. Google Ads will immediately double or triple your spend if you're doing it properly. So that right in itself would, maybe a bunch of podiatrists would never do that because they just couldn't sleep at night. And if that's the case, I get it, not a problem. But for those that know the power of the web and know how to drive these things and have seen for themselves the power of this, it's one thing for organic through blogs and articles, another thing to go outside of your hometown area to target affluent people that are, whether they're runners, sports injuries, whatever it is that might be an ideal patient for you. That's a big deal. So Google Ads does just that. They're kind of what I call in the moment ads, when there's nothing like it. So if you're typing in heel pain treatment in Edison, New Jersey, and boom, and your ad pops up instantly. What's better than that? So that's what it is. But by the way, I should mention what's better than that. But if you pop up and then that Google ad points to a really old, outdated website, and they happen to see on the side that you got a bunch of negative reviews and outdated content and this and that, well, again, you lost them at hello. Google Ads got you to say hello, get you visible, and then you lost them at the click of a mouse. So, Google receives a ridiculous amount of, 63,000 searches per second. And nowadays, healthcare providers are number 3 on the list, which is unbelievable. So, there's a lot of gobbledygook just threw at you as far as optimization, Google Ads, reputation management, content marketing, web strategy, web presence, all that stuff. So it's, a lot of podiatrists say, whoa, like this is getting late at night, it's 8:30, and this is too much, it's information overload. What does it really all mean? And another slide from Jeffrey Learman that I really like, he says, adapt or die. The longer you wait, the more you lose. If you think you can't afford it, many who know and use the web will tell you that you can't afford not to use the web, because it's going to benefit you, your practice, your patients, and your staff. And it's true. And by the way, there's a whole lot of talk about AI right now. And so, our company is, and others are, we're pivoting and adapting and positioning to get ready for AI, because it's going to change things. So, you gotta, adapt or die. And you want to die, but it's just an expression, but you got to adapt. And, we've had the privilege of helping hundreds of podiatrists go from, adapt and pivot and, take a leap of faith and move forward to do more on the web. And then they just never look back. But the bottom line is that, nowadays we live in the digital age. Everybody and their mother is a smartphone. The battle for new patients, it takes place online. It's not in the yellow pages. So you want to win the digital battle. And so, we help podiatrists do that by having all this stuff going on, from a great looking website to fresh content on a weekly basis, to updated directories for all their locations and maybe all their doctors, manage a reputation in multiple ways, and then targeted ad campaigns. Again, it's not for everyone. Not many podiatrists don't have the stomach for it or the budget for it, but it's powerful. But all this stuff is what makes a podiatrist successful, enables you to dominate in your local area. And when that happens, you're making money, and you're making money much more so than the average podiatrist in the country. But if you feel a little bit overwhelmed, I get it. Just don't try this stuff at home. And because, our business model is making it easy for podiatrists to do what they do, which is treat patients, and we do the other stuff. We do it all for you. So, and again, successful entrepreneurs and business owners know that they need to outsource and delegate. So if any of you have ever tried, like I mentioned, Google Ads on your own, I don't wish this on people, but oftentimes, in most cases, they crash and burn. I tried it, it didn't work, and it was a mistake. Of course, like I should not try foot surgery. That probably would be a mistake. So just my corny joke, but my point is that don't try this stuff at home. Now, others have sat on the sidelines for months, if not years, if not decades, watching the podiatrist across town totally dominating and leveraging the power of the web. Others have been curious. They keep hearing more and more and more about the power of the web and social media and content, all this stuff, and Google ads, but they just never taken the plunge. And they're busy anyway. They may not be as successful as they want. They might not be having a efficient practice, but they're busy. But they've been curious. I call it a mental anchor. They just haven't taken the plunge yet. And then, hopefully there's others that maybe have piqued your interest about this stuff and open your mind to what's, a new marketing channel that's possible that could really benefit your practice in ways that you may never have expected. So if that describes any of you, you should take advantage, pick my brain. This is all I do is help podiatrists get out of their own way and do more on the web. So we call it a web strategy session, and it basically opens your mind to what's possible above and beyond where you're at right now. Sometimes, many of these customers, it takes their practice to a level, and then, they get a web strategy session and say, I want to do this, and they do it. Now they're part of what I call the happy club, or some would call it the 1% club, because they're making a lot more money and running a better practice through better marketing into their practice. We got a lot of fans all over the place, and I was going to say we were at the Region 3 conference just a couple of weeks ago in Atlantic City, and while the conferences have been, disappointing as far as the number of podiatrists that are not attending, they're still good for us because we get to see our customers, and it's great because I like being recognized. I like the appreciation. We're feeling the love from all kinds of practices, big and small. They're saying that we're doing a great job, that we've changed their whole practice, and it's impacted, in many cases, it impacts their whole life, so it's a good thing. So anyway, I encourage you, if you're on this, if I piqued your curiosity, take advantage of this. I'm actually giving away a $100 Visa card. Actually, I'm going to give up to 10 of them away. So if you're interested in doing this, text me. That's my cell number, the 917-572-5088. And I decided that I'm going to give away $1,000 in Visa gift cards. So the first 10 that request a web strategy session, at the end of our session, we either Zelle it to you if you're a Chase customer, or we can mail it to you. But in most cases, podiatrists are, they're thanking me for what we talked about, the things that they didn't know were possible for their practice. So in this web strategy session, we kind of identify barriers. We take a close look, like a doctor takes an X-ray. We do something similar, gain some clarity about your strengths and weaknesses and where you stand as far as you versus your competitors, and discover some improvements and some opportunities and possibilities that maybe you didn't know ever existed. So I highly recommend this, and we're well prepared for this. We're very professional. It's not like a high-pitched or high-pressure sales pitch. It's definitely not that. But it's really, it's a educational thing, and nothing's for everyone. I mean, if there's improvements to be made, we'll make suggestions. But if the podiatrist is content with where they're at, they might learn a couple of things and just move on. But if you're interested, text me and we'll schedule that maybe for some time next week if that works. So with that, I just want to thank you. I know we're about 8:36, and guess we got time for some questions if anybody has some. But thank you guys for joining me, and I guess I'm gonna hand it back to you right now.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, Randy.
Sure.
As always, very informative. I have been struggling with whether or not to get us involved in Google Ads, because we've been lucky up until this point. Everything has been word of mouth and organic, but we're trying some new strategies this year. So you might be my next call on exactly how to get our Google Ads working efficiently. So there aren't any questions typed into the Q&A or the chat, but I know that our attendees that are on right now have been on for this entire time. So clearly they have found value. So if you have a question and you don't feel like typing it, you can raise your hand with the raise hand icon. And we can unmute you and you guys can chit chat about maybe some challenges that you experience in your practice related to your online profile or online marketing. So we have an intimate little group here. You know, don't be afraid. Let's chat. What do you got?
Let's chat. What do you got? Bring it on. Yeah. If you're curious about something, yeah, have a conversation about it. But most podiatrists have some sort of question or something maybe that they're doing right. I mean, actually, if it's not a question, if it's something that, you've utilized the web in a way that's benefited your practice, I'd love to hear about that. And I think that maybe the others that are on this call would benefit from hearing about that as well.
One of the questions that you get a lot when we have these, Randy, is, how should I respond to negative Google reviews, or should I respond? And also, what services do you offer? Like, do I have to do it all, or can I start slow and build up? So what do you have to say about those things?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely start, you can walk before you run, for sure. And, podiatrists many have been pleasantly surprised. They think when they hear about all this optimization and this gobbledygook, this tech talk, that A, maybe it's too late to even start, or B, that it's a lot of money. Like, I can't afford this, and then they find out that it's under $2,000 to set the whole thing up. It shouldn't be. It should be 4 times that amount, but it's not. And what other companies charge that. And then, it's not that much money per month either. So they're pleasantly surprised. So you could start somewhere. I always say the best way to start is to start. And then, as far as reputation management goes, if you get a negative review, for example, you definitely want to be proactive and strategic about that, because negative reviews are poison. I mean, for example, if you Google a podiatrist or a podiatry practice and they come up with, say, 10 Google reviews, which is decent, not horrible, but certainly not great, and they're at, like, say, 3.6 stars. Well, let me ask you, Ann, if you're looking to go to a new Italian restaurant, you and Sarah, and you check out the restaurant and it's got 10 reviews at 3.6 stars, would you go?
It's a no for me. Same thing with Amazon. I filter my results by 4 stars or more.
Right. There you go. And even if it had 4 stars, let's say it did, right? Let's say it had 4.2 stars, which is not bad, but it only had 10 reviews, then all it takes is 1 or 2 negative reviews to knock that average down. So it took like 2 more negative reviews. Suddenly the 4.2 average goes to down to 3.5 or something like that. And that's what I call poison to a podiatry practice. And if it's a fairly new review, the reviews are SEO friendly. So, well, not so friendly when it's negative, meaning that it shows up. So whether it's positive or negative, it's going to show up, and that's not good.
That's absolutely right. We've seen that. My husband owns a locksmith company here in our town. So he's a local service area provider, and he has well over a couple hundred Google reviews now. But when we were starting out, most all of them were positive. As well as I do, most of the time when you get a negative one, it's unfounded. Someone has misunderstood a situation or something like that. But it is crazy how fast it can drop your score. And so what we learned is the importance of a multitude of reviews, because you need to see a higher average. Like when I go to Amazon, if I see something that has 4.9 stars, but only 2 reviews, I'm not likely to believe it because it's only 2 people talking. When you have more than that, then you get a better representation and a better idea of what the practice is really offering. So we have a question here that just popped in. I'm going to read it to you.
Okay.
I have been employed by 2 different practices since I graduated residency and have since started my own practice. This is my 3rd year in my own practice. Does
Congratulations.
Podiatry Content Connection help clean up my online presence in terms of unlinking me from old archived web pages from my 2 former practices? I currently have my own website, but I still show up in Google searches as part of old practices.
Yeah. It's a great question, and congratulations on 3 years in your own practice. That's great. And by the way, we give special attention and special pricing to resident doctors, and regardless of their age, whether they're young or old, if they're starting over or starting a new practice, we've done some great work. As a matter of fact, I just got a 5-star review from Alex Kim in Texas, I think last week, that started with us day one, referred to us by Cindy Pezza, and he's rocking and rolling. So we get, a great joy by helping those. So, but to answer your question, a lot of that is what I call directory optimization, that your name, address, and phone number is not cleaned up properly. So it's a mishmash on the web. So it's picking up previous employment, whether it's, the directories, like there's like 60 or 70 or 80 local directories from Health Grades and Yelp and Google and this and that and Facebook, and there's a whole bunch of them, yellow pages. So they need to be cleaned up. I would never wish it on you personally to do it. So we have a team and software that does that stuff. So the answer to the question is that can definitely be cleaned up. So we have 2 services. One's called Directory Optimization that does it for the practice. We've taken that to the next level. We do what's called DPM optimization through the same type of service for the name, address, and phone number, not just the practice, for the individual doctor or doctors. And that kind of like turbocharges that whole thing, but it cleans everything up. I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, 3 years in your own practice, by the way, is, first of all, that's great, but it takes some time. I mean, a lot of people that go into their own, I always say, when you go into your own business or your own practice, careful what you ask for, you just might get it, meaning that a whole lot goes with that. When you're an employee or an associate at a practice, or maybe a larger practice, and there's multiple people to do lots of things, all of a sudden you got 20 plates up in the air because it's your own practice. But there's no floor, no ceiling. But very successful entrepreneurial private practice owners, they live a great lifestyle once they kind of, what I call, crack the code to marketing and practice management. Is a big deal. So whoever you are, I wish you all the best. And if you want to learn more about that and how we help, younger podiatrists that start new practices, reach out to me. Happy to help.
Awesome. So just as a reminder, before we close out tonight, Randy, what was that phone number and text code if they want to set up a demo with you or a strategy session?
Yeah, so it's 917-572-5088.
Okay.
What we do in preparation for that, I have one of my assistants run reports on your practice. We look at the strengths where you're doing well. We look for gaps and things that maybe you're not doing that some of your competitors are doing. We look at reviews to make sure that you've got a lot of good ones. And a lot of times we see that the practice has a lot of really good reviews, which is great, but the podiatrist doesn't. So you want to have both. And also to your question, Ann, before, is that reputation management, like we have different tools for it, but we have some that I literally give away. If they have, a website with us, there's it's like a rate us button or widget that goes on your website. So if it's thumbs up, and they can point it directly to Google or whatever. And I charge $0 for that. There's other tools that are $95 a month, so it's not breaking the bank. And then there's others that are more of an investment that are, it's the Porsche Turbo Carrera. It's more robust, utilizes AI technology, and it's not for everyone. But baby steps. You walk before you run. But if you want to
exactly right.
Reach out. So
awesome. All right, Randy, what's next for Podiatry Content Connection? Where are we going to be seeing you?
We're heading to the FPMA summer conference in about 3 weeks.
That'll be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. It's in Bonita Springs near like Naples. So I would like to support the FPMA, and Karen Lamper is great. So it's a good little conference, not huge. The SAM conference, by the way, I thought this year was the best conference of the year so far, by far, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I think the FPMA does a great job over there. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm sure we'll see a bunch of you at the National in Nashville.
Yeah, that's a mouthful. The National in Nashville.
Yeah, we'll be there.
All right, Randy. Well, thank you very much again for your time this evening. Thank you to our attendees this evening. Just as a reminder, we do host these sessions fairly frequently, usually on Mondays or Tuesdays. So you can always check our webpage to learn about the next session and RSVP. And Randy's contact information is up there. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to him directly. If for some reason you don't have that written down, you can always email us and we'll put you in contact with them. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Anne. Appreciate it. Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night, Randy. Good night, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.